Hello everybody, I'm John Moran, Chair of the Hunt Museum, and I'd like to welcome you on behalf of the board, the staff and all the volunteers at the museum to our annual report for 2020. This year we're trying a new departure, which is to present it in a video format, and I hope you'll enjoy what you'll see in terms of all the great work that the staff and everyone have been doing. Of course, we all know that 2020 started out as a year with so much promise, and then Ireland, like all the other countries across the world, was hit by the pandemic. The museum took a decision to not close but to continue to serve the community here in Limerick, and I really want to thank all of the staff, the volunteers and indeed the support we got from Limerick City Council and the government to allow us to do that. It was actually a year in which we benefited from many of the initiatives that our Director Jill had taken since her appointment to move forward with a digitisation agenda for the museum and an outreach in a different way. And I suppose for us 2020 properly has marked the new departure for the museum, where we use all new formats in the way we actually communicate with people and the way we share the lovely collection that we have here with them and all the activities that take place. Along the way during 2020 we did many new exhibitions, and you'll hear more about those later, but I suppose the important thing about them was the innovation that we see in the way we actually now are presenting what we have at the museum to the broader public, not just in Limerick but across the whole country and indeed beyond, across the rest of Europe and into the world. We managed to do a lot in the European Expo process, which was actually one of those activities that we had to defer and will take place again next year. But I suppose for me, one of the big highlights of the year, which you'll see a little bit more about, was our ability to work with the school kids of Limerick and indeed others in designing a new public space for us in the back of the garden or the back of the museum. And this, of course, is going to be a feature of the work we do in 2021 as we move forward through that year. Suffice to say, the only last thing I would like to do is to really thank everybody who has helped us in so many different ways. We know 2020 was a difficult year for many people on a personal basis, but we have been overwhelmed by the support we got from people who have donated money to our efforts across the year, but most importantly to all the volunteers who have actually helped us in such a great way. And of course I couldn't but finish by thanking the Hunt family, whose generous donation in the first place made the museum possible, but who continue to support us in so many important ways as we continue to broaden the mission and the efforts that we're trying to achieve. Thank you very much, and I look forward to meeting you all in person once we get through COVID, but for the moment, enjoy what you're about to see.
Hello, my name is Jill Cousins. I'm the Director of the Hunt Museum, and I'm very pleased to be able to present you with our 2020 annual report. So I'm very proud that the team of colleagues, our docents and the Friends of the Hunt Museum still managed to achieve over 75% of the key performance indicators that we had set ourselves at the end of 2019 for 2020. Our business plan links to the Hunt Museum Strategy 2025, created at the end of 2018. This is now the second annual plan that works to achieve the goals of the strategy. We have 4 priorities which are supported in collaboration with local partners, such as Limerick City and County Council, Limerick Mental Health Association and others. And then internationally through projects such as Europeana Archaeology and Europe at Work. The priorities rely very much on our willing and able communities of docents and friends. The first priority is collections. With its digitisation programme and the starting of a collection management system that will feed our website, displays and our future online work. We also manage some very essential work on the metadata that describes the objects in our collections, with the front of house staff willingly retraining to do the data entry. This means that now our objects can be retrieved via the search engines and on our own website. It also means that we could meet the quality targets of Europeana and the Wiki Commons for the publication of data. Our images and data, all our images and data, is now discoverable on their platforms, increasing the reach of our museum's artefacts to everyone across the world. We still need to update our displays, but this is just delayed, not deferred. Our second priority is public engagement, covering visitors, education, community and participation. Here, the work that we had done on digitising the collection over the previous 2 years paid off, and it really meant that our ability to be a first mover when COVID-19 hit became very apparent after we had to close our physical building. We created 2 new virtual exhibitions entwined in the fabric linked to our Best Costume Goes To. That was done on the Google Arts and Culture platform. And then an actual virtual exhibition space for our annual Living Artists exhibition. In 2020, this was new small work from Harper, Hogg and Shinners. Overall, we saw a 57% increase in our website traffic and 109% increase on our social media channels. Before lockdown, we had a very successful physical exhibition with Best Costume Goes To in collaboration with the Irish Costume Archive project, with costumes from films such as Breakfast on Pluto, Michael Collins, In Bruges and The Favourite. In education area of public engagement, we truly excelled with some brilliant and very innovative online offerings for schools and parents struggling with lockdown. From costume design to art and identity under our Three Muses project, running a 3-way collaboration. The Three Muses project is running a 3-way collaboration with the Limerick City Gallery of Art and Limerick City Museum. We used Mozilla Hubs, had video-based workshops on the Vikings, produced an online exhibition and layout design product for Leaving Cert art students, among many more offerings that kept everybody going. On the community front, we couldn't meet any objectives that required coming together physically, but did at least complete some multimedia training with Wired FM and the transition year students. In terms of participation, we had a fantastic project in Europe at Work. This was with Ardna Crusher Memories, where docents, our in-house volunteer force of people who have often had full careers and retired, they interviewed and collected memorabilia from people who had worked on the Shannon hydroelectric scheme, culminating in an international online and offline symposium between lockdowns. And our Kids, Arts and Crafts, part of the Museum at Home series, was a lifesaver for parents and children looking for real things to do at home. Our third priority is innovation, and for this we completed one of 2 objectives due to COVID-19. The first was to try to launch the museum in the garden. So while not actually completed, so we missed the objective, we did make good progress under the circumstances. With a competition for a new design, which led to a successful and exciting appointment in Nicola Haynes of Nicola Haynes Tierney Architects, and we retained a contractor. We also got an additional grant from ESB, which allowed us to create Olmec Man together with Arup, who gave us some in-kind contributions. The second objective, which was the Limerick Museum's joint digitisation project, was much more difficult to deliver. We did do an introduction between, again, lockdowns on the 3rd and 4th of December, where training was delivered to volunteers and 1 member of staff, but following through on this was very difficult because of lockdown. Our fourth priority is funding. And here, one of two of the targets that we set ourselves were met. The first and really big one that we should mention is the Fund a Cobble campaign. This was a truly successful campaign, fundraising using the Fundit platform. It directly raised €17,760 from the public in terms of funding cobbles and benches and planters for the garden. With added donations coming from individuals, that became a 38,000, which was then matched by a further 50,000 from the JP McManus Foundation. Retail, unfortunately, did not do as well and showed very much the need for an online presence that could be fulfilled. And we've learnt a lesson from that for 2021 and going forward. The support of the Marcoms team was superb, reflected in the quality of video and imagery, as well as in our social media increases on all our platforms. Two groups are the backbone of the museum activities and operation. The docents and the friends, as well as Ardna Krisha, interviewing and doing a massive social service, engaging people suffering social isolation during COVID. There was an active training programme and total engagement from these volunteers. Friends, our other big community of support, supported the online events and made great efforts to improve membership rates, numbers of people who were affiliated with the museum. Despite being closed, we increased our online events to the museum, such as the Best Costume Goes To. During Halloween, we created Halloween masks and had several other online Christmas workshops and the like, trying to keep people informed and entertained at the same time. On the building front, we did deliver the 5-year maintenance plan, so we now know more or less what we have to do over the next 5 years. But it included being able to work on the damp that was in the education wing and having a new lift installed. We're in the process of drawing up feasible architectural plans to reconfigure the building. This wasn't launched but will be deferred to 2021. Looking forward to 2021 and the targets for our 3 platforms, that's the concept of a modern museum needing to operate on 3 platforms, the physical, the virtual and the human. So in our case, the building with its collections being the physical, the virtual being everything that we do on all our social media platforms and our website, and the human being everything that the community does to support us. So that's all of our networks and volunteers such as the docents and the friends. We are looking to deliver in the virtual space, very much an online first thinking. So we're turning our thinking inside out so that we start with the virtual. On the human front, to harness more of the generous, energetic, supportive networks of our docents, friends and collaborators by making the Hunt Museum the place to volunteer. And on the physical front, the museum in the garden will hopefully have made the Hunt Museum the place to be in Limerick, a place of fun, exchange, knowledge and learning. And I leave you with all of the people who made this possible. Thank you.